Hi, I'm Jeff Sweet. Usually, when I'm teaching in person, the first exercise that I give is something that I call the power of the unspoken word. The idea of the power of the unspoken word is related to what I talked about in the last installment, the idea of encouraging the audience to see the tiger behind the leaves. The idea of the audience finding the meaning of what's on stage for themselves. By encouraging them to do so, you get them to participate, to engage with your material rather than just sit there like lumps passively in their seats. So how do you do this? Okay, let me give you a little example. This is about a kid who's maybe 11 years old. Um, he's he's talking to a friend of his, and this is what he says to his friend. So it's Saturday, and he's supposed to show up at 10 o'clock in the morning, but it's like 10:20. And Ma says, "Don't worry, he's probably just delayed by something. He'll be here." I say, "That's okay. He shows. He shows. If he doesn't, I got homework I can do. I'm cool." And she says, "Well, we're all going to have to make adjustments." And I say, "That's fine. I know that. I'm coping. I'm coping. No problem. Okay." So anyway, I go upstairs. I go to my bedroom, and I look out the window, and from my window, after a few minutes, I can see his car pull up, park across the street, and I see him, get out of the car, and I see him walk up the front walk. My room is right above the front door, so I can hear them talking. And she says, "You're late." He says, "Don't start." She says, "I'm just observing that you're supposed to be here at 10 o'clock. It's what, almost 10:25." He says, "Traffic." She says, "Yeah, yeah, traffic. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's always something, isn't it?" And they go on like this for a while, and it builds more heat and more volume, and whatever. And finally, I say, "You guys, I can hear you." So he calls up and he says, "If you can hear me, I'm here. So come on, let's get a move on. Come on down. Let's get started." So I go downstairs, and Mom says, "Have a good time." She kisses me on the cheek. And I go across to the car, and I get in the front seat beside him, and I say, "Okay." And he says, I'm sorry I'm late." I say, "That's okay." He says, "Traffic?" I say, "Yes, okay. Traffic, whatever. It's fine. Let's just go and do whatever. I mean, what have we got today? What are you planning? Are we going to play miniature golf? Are we going to go to a movie? Or, hey, are we going to have like real fun and have lunch with your girlfriend? Can we just go? Can we just go and do this?" So when I finish this piece, I ask my students to tell me what's going on here. And somebody says, "Well, the father is picking up his son for visitation." I say, "Yeah, notice please, I never used the word father, and I never used the word visitation. So if we're dealing with visitation, what's the state of affairs between the parents?" And somebody says, "Well, they're either separated or divorced." And I say, I didn't use either of those words either. I never said separated or divorced. The words that I would argue are the most important words in the passage I never actually said: father, visitation, divorce. I never said them, but they occurred in the minds of the audience. The audience, processing the specifics of the behavior that I've described, comes up with these words themselves. And it's more powerful because they came up with the words than if I actually had used them. Let me toss out a couple of other observations about that little passage. One is, maybe you remember from an earlier installment, I talked about the use of the historic present. I just used it again, even though the words, even though the events the kid is describing happened a couple of days ago, he's narrating it in the present, historical present. The other thing that I'm going to observe is I used almost no adjectives. And here's the reason why. I think, for the most part, adjectives are the enemy of drama because they evaluate. That's what adjectives and adverbs are there for. They're words that are attached to other words that evaluate the words that they're attached to. And I avoid them whenever possible. I mean, what's more interesting, if I say that Leonard is cheap, or if I say Leonard tipped 50 cents on a $40 check? Chances are, if I give you the facts about the tip Leonard left, that word cheap is going to come up in your mind. So I didn't have to use it. And that's where I want adjectives to occur, evaluative words to occur in the audience's mind. In general, I'm working to keep evaluations to the audience. I'm not saying that all adjectives and adverbs are bad. In fact, there's a particular occasion when adjectives and adverbs can be very useful. And that is when the audience perceives them as being inaccurate. When the audience hears an adjective and responds, well, that isn't true. The lyrics of the musical My Fair Lady are filled with examples of this technique in brilliant use by Alan J. Lerner. For instance, there's a song called I'm an Ordinary Man, and Higgins goes, I'm an ordinary man, even tempered and good-natured, whom you never hear complain, who has the milk of human kindness by the quart in every vein. An average man am I, of no eccentric whim, who likes to live his life free of strife, doing whatever he thinks is best for him, just an ordinary man. And the audience is thinking, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You are not an ordinary man. You're not even tempered and good-natured. We've seen evidence of your temper and eccentricity and your narcissism and self-indulgence. So what's happening is that the audience hears this pileup of adjectives that are wildly inaccurate, and we realize how little Higgins knows himself or understands how he comes across to others. We respond by challenging his self-evaluation. Okay, in the song, I Could Have Danced All Night, instead of having Liza sing, all at once in Higgins's arms, everything felt right, she sings, I'll never know what made it so exciting, why all at once my heart took flight. The audience goes, we know. And then there are things that characters affirm that the audience challenges and contradicts in the Ascot Gavotte. Remember the group of people dressed up in fancy dress, and they're watching a race, and they're singing about how excited they are. The joke is, though, that they're standing stock still. They're not turning a hair. They're professing to be thrilled by what they're seeing, but they're posed like marble statues. Later, when Eliza sings to Freddie, don't talk of love, show me, we think she really doesn't want Freddie to show her anything. She's really not interested in Freddie. And then what her father, Doolittle, sings, he sings, I'm getting married in the morning, get me to the church on time. He doesn't really want to get married. The only reason he's getting married is he's being forced into it by middle-class morality, which he professes to disdain. And finally, at the end of the show, when Higgins sings, I've grown accustomed to her face. Think of it. That song would be ruined if he had come out and sang, damn, 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 I've fallen in love with Eliza Doolittle. Instead, I've grown accustomed to her face. How's that for a passionate declaration? I'm used to her. We in the audience translate, I've grown accustomed to her face, to the emotion that he's really feeling. The only exception to this implicit construction of songs in My Fair Lady is On the Street Where You Live, which is sung by Freddie, an Edwardian stalker. We don't care a bit about Freddie. But as I understand it, the song was introduced basically to provide time for Julie Andrews to make a costume change. And yeah, the music is lovely. So, okay.